everyone, and welcome to the virtual farm tour at Mulligan Farm. We are so excited to have you all today. Now, I know that you have been waiting for this, and we can't wait to show you around. But we have to talk about a few housekeeping items first before we get started. Let's do first things first. If you have a question, make sure you use the question and answer function on your computer or Zoom. If you've joined us via Facebook Live, you can type it into the comments section and we'll get it right here on the farm. If you're joining us on YouTube Live, you just get to enjoy the tour. Don't forget, if you want more resources like lesson plans, you can hop onto our website at americandairy.com. Now, I know that there's a lot of you new joining us. So tell me, who has been to a farm before? Anybody out there? I think there's a few of you that have, but a lot of you that haven't. We are so excited. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Farmer Emily, who's going to give us the tour. Hi, Farmer Emily.
Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm so happy to have everyone here on the farm on this beautiful fall day. As Kelsey said, my name is Emily, and I am the fourth generation here on the farm. So that means my great-grandpa started at the farm, my grandpa worked here, my parents work here, and now myself and my cousin manage the farm. My cousin is in charge of the crop and shop crew, which we'll learn about in a little bit, and myself, I take care of all the cows and all the employees. So we have 23 full-time employees here that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, making sure that the cows are taken care of and fed and that everyone's happy. So we're going to go around and learn a little bit more about everything that goes on the farm, and feel free to ask questions along the way. So first up is our calf stop. So these white houses in front of us are called hutches, and these are where our newest additions to the farm live. So they spend their days sleeping, eating, and hanging out. Oh, look who's joined us. This is Declan. Declan is my sidekick and my dog. He's 4.5 years old, and he loves to be a part of the farm tour. He'll probably con one of us into playing fetch along the way, too. So as you can see, the girls are in their houses taking a nap. They were fed breakfast around 6:30 this morning, and they will get lunch again at around noon. They will get dinner at around 6 p.m. So you're probably wondering, well, I eat peanut butter and jelly. What do the calves eat? Glad you asked. So right now, we have water in these buckets. Just like you and I, our calves need to drink water to stay hydrated. But 3 times a day, they get milk. So the milk they're fed is actually milk that cows produce on the farm that we can't put into the tank. So we pasteurize it, just like the milk that you buy in the gallon jugs is pasteurized. And we come out and we feed it here to the calves. And so after they get fed milk, then they get fed water. And they also get grain. We can actually look at the grain. We'll get a view in the calf hutch. And so this grain, I think it smells like apples. Some people say strawberries, some people say other fruit, but it smells really sweet and our calves really like to eat it. So it's nice. It's kind of like a granola, sort of.
Farmer Emily, that is so cool. So we have questions coming in already from the students. They want to know, what are the cows' names and what are those yellow tags in their ears?
Yeah, so we have about 3,000 animals on the farm. And so not all our animals have names, because if I were to come up with 3,000 names, that'd be a lot of work to keep them straight. So instead of having names, we have what's called ear tags. So those yellow things are ear tags, and every calf has a different number. And every calf gets that number the day they're born, and they have the same number for their entire life. So that's how we know who's who, and that's how we keep track of them. So that's their identification.
Wow, that is really neat. So how old are these calves here that we're seeing?
Yeah, so this calf right here was born on August 16th. Actually, her birthday is on the ear tag. And so she is about 2 months old. And so once she's 2 months old, that's when we wean them. So they are no longer getting milk and they are only drinking water and eating grain. And they'll move into a different housing system that's group housing where they get to commingle with other friends. And then the newest additions will go into these pens. So they're in these hutches for about 2 months, and then they move on to the next building.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, you said there were 3,000 cows on this farm. Is that right?
Yes. So we milk about 1,400 cows 3 times a day. And then we have about 2,000 that are young stock. So they are not yet milking. So they're babies, soon to be adults, anywhere from 0 days old up until about 2 years old. And we actually have a really cool calf right here. I don't know if you guys can see, but she's a really pretty red and white cow. And she is a different breed. She's called a linebacker, which just means that she's somewhat beef. But the cool thing is that we didn't expect this. And so we saved her because we thought she was really pretty. So maybe we can get her to come out of the hutch and say hi to you guys. Do you see that? So the rest of our calves are black and whites. They are called Holsteins. That's the breed of cow that they are. And that's what we have here on the farm. And Holsteins are known for being about 1,800 pounds when they're full grown, and they make a lot of milk. And they're big cows. We'll see adults in a minute.
Oh. So, Farmer Emily, we had a question.
Yes.
So our viewers are just wondering, these calves are in these nice little white hutches, but they aren't with their moms. Can you tell us a little bit about why we raise calves the way we do?
Yeah, so our calves are licked off by their moms, and then we move them into these hutches. And so why we do that is because, unlike you or I, our calves are not born with natural immunity, which means that they can get sick at any moment in time if they're exposed to any dirt or manure or anything. So what we do is we give them colostrum, which is the first milk from the mom. But instead of having them nurse off the mom, which we don't know that her teeth are clean, we don't know that she has good quality milk, we give it to them ourselves, and we've tested that colostrum first to make sure it's high quality. So there's a scale and a whole test that we use, and then we know that it's good quality colostrum, and that's how we know that our calves get the immunity they need, and that's how we know that they're going to be safe and healthy, because we want these calves to grow up to be strong cows, and the only way to do that is to make sure that we do it ourselves. Also, like I said before, the cows are about 1,800 pounds full grown. That means that these calves that are born that are about 80 to 100 pounds, that's a big difference in weight. And if the mom isn't careful, she can step on and hurt the baby. So we need to make sure that our calves are well taken care of. So that's why we do it ourselves.
Very, very cool. So I think, Emily, you were going to show us some more calves.
Yeah, we're going to go to the calf barn next. And so we have a calf barn, and the same care is given to the calves there. And we just don't have enough space in the calf barns for all the calves. We have about 100 calves in the hutches and in the barns, and about 60 calves in the hutches. And so in the barns, you'll see it's a little different setup. In the winter, it's a little nicer because we can put the curtains down, and I'll show you what that means. And they're inside a barn. But in the summer, it's nice and open like it is today.
Wow, very cool. So we had another question coming in, which is, obviously when you're having calves, there are boy calves and girl calves. And here on the farm, we know you keep the girl calves. So what happens to the boy calves?
Yeah, so a lot of the boy calves we have get raised for beef. So just like an Angus calf is for beef, we send our bull calves off the farm to be raised at another place. For me personally, I work in the barns every day. And if I were to have about 2,000-pound bull cows running at me all day, I don't think my job would be very fun, and I could get really hurt. So instead, we only have females, and we use artificial insemination on the farm, not real bulls.
That makes sense. So these calves that we're seeing and the calves out there, we had a question. How many times a day do they eat?
Yes. So they get fed milk 3 times a day. But as you can see right here, our good friend has water and grain at all times during the day. So she can eat and drink all she wants. And this calf is 1 month old. So she was born on September 16th. So she is 1 month old. And she has water and grain. And you can see that yellow stuff that she's standing on? That's what we use to bed the calves. And so that means that you have blankets, our calves have straw is what it's called. And so straw is a byproduct or another something that comes out of wheat. So wheat grain is used to make bread, and straw we use to bed the animals, and it soaks up moisture and makes a nice fluffy bed for the calves to sleep on. And we can also feed it to our cows, which we'll see here in a minute.
That is so cool. I am so excited to see that.
Yes. So we're going to keep walking, and we're going to see those adult cows that I keep talking about.
Well, that's perfect timing, Emily, because we've had a question. Where do the adult girl cows live?
Yes.
And then let's see, we've had some more questions come in, which is how many calves are born on the farm each day?
Yes. So that varies a lot. And we can have anywhere from 0 to, so far this morning, we have had 2. And on some days we'll have 10 or 12. So it averages out to about 5 calves per day here on the farm. And if we're lucky, we might actually see one being born right now. We'll check over there first.
All right. Now, we've had some other questions coming in. How much water do cows drink in a day?
So we consider cows, they drink a lot of water, about a bathtub of water, which is about 50 gallons of water per day. And they eat about 100 pounds of food. So that's probably about as much some of you weigh, right? It's a lot of food.
Oh my gosh, that is a lot of food and water.
So here we are in what we call the freestall barn. This is where our adult cows live. And so, unfortunately, there are no cows calving right now. But if you look, these pens, this gate closes. And when a cow is about to have a baby, we put her in one of these pens. And it's kind of like your own room. So it's privacy, it's safe, and it's a way that we can have a baby born in a clean and sanitary space. Because like we said, those calves have no immunity. So we need to ensure that they're born in a space that is clean so that they can be healthy.
Wow. It looks like you guys take really good care of your cows. So Emily, tell us a little bit about, now that we're inside the barn, is it hot? Is it cold in here? What's it feel like?
Yeah, so it is about 73 degrees today here in Avon, New York. So as you can see, we have fans running. Those fans are thermoregulated. So when it's hot, they turn on. When it's cold, they turn off. They run at different speeds depending how hot it is. Right now, they're running at full speed. That's like having your fan in your bedroom turned on high. So the fans move the air. And as you can see with the amount of cows that are laying down right here, they're very happy and sleeping well. And they are sleeping on. Does anyone have a guess what this is? No, it's not gravel. It is sand. So our cows sleep on sand bedding. And so
Emily, is that just like the beach?
I mean, look at how they're sleeping. I think that they're pretty happy. It's like the beach, yeah. And so the sand is dry. You can see it's very dry. And we groom it twice a week. So you have to make your bed every morning. Our cows don't have to make their own beds. Twice a week, we groom the beds. And once a week, we add new bedding to the beds to make sure that they have a nice, comfortable space to lay down on. And so, like I said, we call this a freestall barn. So what that means is each of these are stalls. So you can kind of see, here's one stall. Here's another stall. Each stall is for one animal. You can see all the way down through, there's one cow laying on each stall. That means they all have their own space to sleep. And when they want to be done sleeping or they are ready to eat something, They stand up and they walk around front, and out front is where they have feed. And if they're thirsty, they come right over here by our girl 1569, and they can drink out of that blue water. So every pen has 3 to 4 waters, depending on how many cows.
Very cool.
They can drink their water as much as they want. So like a bathtub of water a day.
Okay, Farmer Emily, we've had a bunch of questions we have to answer. So you showed us how big the stalls are, but how much do these cows weigh?
Yeah, they weigh about 1,800 pounds, 1,800 pounds.
Okay, now we had a question back from the calves, which was how much do those calves weigh that we just saw?
Yeah, so the calves weigh about 80 to 100 pounds when they are born, but they grow really quickly. So by the time they're a year old, they weigh about 400 pounds.
Okay, now we have some more questions about our cows, which is how old are these cows and how old is your oldest cow?
Our oldest cow is about 8 years old, and the cows that we just saw are about 2 years to 8 years old.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Yes. So I see, Emily, you've got some stuff here for us. What are we looking at?
Yeah. So we said that the cows eat about 100 pounds of feed a day. So they don't just eat anything. They actually eat way better than you or I. They eat a very balanced diet, so they aren't allowed to choose if they want to take their minerals or eat their vegetables. We give them a mix of feed, and that ensures that they get all the nutrients they need.
You don't have to yell.
Okay. So first up, we have what is called corn silage. And so in a minute, you're going to see a video, and that video is going to show the process of how we get this from the field to the farm and to the feed bunks that the cows eat. So you can kind of see in here is a corn kernel. So the corn kernel is like the kernel on a corn on a cob, but then you also have this, which is the stalk of the corn. You can see there's the corn stalk. And so it's chopped up nice and fine. And then we put it in what we call the bunk. And we pack it down, and then we cover with plastic, and it's kind of like saran wrapped. And that's how it we ferment it. So it sits there for about 2 months, and we let it ferment. And so it's really sweet when you smell it. And that's how we know that it's good feed, because it smells really sweet and good. So that's corn. We're going to make a mix here on the table. This is kind of how our feeder, who we might see come through, feeds the cows. So he has a specific recipe, and each of the ingredients he adds in order. So first up is corn silage. Next up, this is alfalfa, haylage. You can see it's stalky, but it smells really, really sweet. So it's kind of like grass, and it's a really soft. You can see it's really soft. It's also been fermented the same way the corn has. So we're going to add some of that to our mix. Next up, do you guys remember what the calves were sleeping on? Remember straw? And how I said some cows eat it too? Well, here's straw. This straw is added to the mix. It's kind of like a lettuce. It's bulky, and it's really not that nutritious, but it helps kind of fill cows up. Next up is canola meal. So canola meal has a lot of protein in it, and it's really ground up really fine, and it's a good source of nutrients for the cows. So we add a little bit of canola meal. After that is our cornmeal. So cornmeal is the corn kernels that we saw ground up and dried down really fine. Or add a little bit of that. And then we have our minerals. So you guys might take gummy minerals, gummy vitamins. These are all the nutrients that you need in one form here. And we add that, and that's how we know it's all mixed up. That's how we know the cows get all the nutrients they need. And so then this is what came and is in front of the cows. So this is a little bit of everything mixed together, and it's all of those ingredients that we put together in one form. And so we call this TMR, or a total mixed ration. So, like I said, our cows eat better than we do. So we have a nutritionist. A nutritionist is someone who specializes in making sure that our cows get the nutrients they need. And so he comes to our farm every single Monday and he looks at the cows and he talks with me and our herdsmen and makes sure that everything's going well. We don't have sick cows. And he puts together this diet. So he's like a human nutritionist. He knows what the cows need nutrition wise in terms of minerals and if they are making milk right now, if they're a baby calf, and he puts together this diet and ensures that we have good quality feed for the cows.
So the first question is, if you're feeding these cows all this tasty food, how many hours a day do they sleep then?
Yeah, so they sleep about 12 to 14 hours a day. And then they eat for about 4 to 6 hours, and then they're in the parlor for about 1 hour every time they milk. So they're in the parlor about 3 hours per day.
Wow, very cool. So the other question that we have is that, do you only have cows on the farm, or are there any other animals here?
Yeah, so we have cows. We also have 5 horses that my sister, my dad, and my brother and my mom ride. I don't personally ride horses. And then we have about 10 chickens, and that's how we get our eggs.
Well, that's pretty cool. Now, before we go anywhere else, we have a couple other questions. You think you can answer them?
Of course I can.
Fabulous. So the next question we've got is, when was this farm started?
Yeah, so our farm was established in 1920. So we are 101 years old.
Oh my gosh, that is a long time to be doing this. Now, Emily, we've seen lots of these cows in here, and I know you're going to show us the milking parlor in just a few minutes, which is where the cows get milked. But some of our tour participants want to know, how do the cows stay so clean?
Well, our cows have cleaning machines, really. So they don't have to vacuum for themselves. We take care of it. We have, actually, right here is the piece of equipment that we use 3 times a day. Every time the cow goes to the parlor, we use this machine to clean the alley, which is the space that the cows are standing in. And so this machine has an attachment on the front, and it pushes the manure into a storage system, and it stays there until we actually put it on the fields. So manure is waste right here, but it's actually really beneficial to us when we put it on the fields. It's compost pretty much. So we grow our crops. We have 2,400 acres of land that we grow corn and alfalfa and wheat on. And that ground, we put the cow manure on as nutrients, so we don't have to spend as much money on putting other minerals on the ground. The cow manure is a really good source of nutrients for the soil to grow really high quality crops. And the higher quality crops we have, the happier the cows are because they get good quality feed and the better they do.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. So you just showed us all these different feed components. Now, how much of those feed or the food that your cows eat do you guys grow right here on the farm?
Yeah, so about 60% of the feed that we feed them is grown right here on the farm. So the corn, the alfalfa, the haylage, and the straw are all grown here on the farm. And the minerals, the canola, the cornmeal, are grown off the farm. So we purchase those ingredients.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. So now we've had another couple questions come in, which is, are the cows friendly?
Let's see. So our cows have personalities, just like you and I. Some of them are crazy wild, some of them are friendly, and some of them are just really relaxed and calm.
Oh my gosh, so they're just like people. Each one is different.
Exactly. Yes, they are. So, let's see. I don't know if we'll be able to pet one here. She smells something. Cows have good sense of smell, so she smells something in the air and she's wondering what's going on. So actually, while we're right here, remember how we said it was kind of warm out? Well, it's not that warm because our sprinklers aren't on. So you might run through a sprinkler in your yard, but we have sprinklers here in the barns. So what we do is when it's really hot out, these turn on. So you can see there's a nozzle right here and water comes through the pipe and sprays on the cow, and then the fan cools the cow. So it keeps the cows really cool and comfortable in the summertime.
Wow, that sounds really nice. I know when it's hot, I love running through the sprinklers. That sounds so fabulous. So Emily, we had a question. Do you have a favorite cow?
Right now, I mean, I just love cows. I don't have a favorite cow because I can't pick favorites. My cows, I love all of them, and I'm here every day with them. And honestly, I wouldn't do what I do if I didn't love the cows. So I just like being with them all day.
Oh, that is so cool. So we've had a couple other questions come in before we head over to the parlor.
Yes.
So we had the question, obviously, Emily, you talked about working with a nutritionist to
Yes.
help our cows eat really healthy, and you talked about growing crops. It sounds like you have some help here on the farm besides just those family members we talked about. So how many people help you here on the farm?
Yes, so we have 22 full-time employees, but we also have people that are here as specialists on the farm. So we have our nutritionist, we have a veterinarian that is also here once a week, and so he uses an ultrasound to check pregnancies on cows, but he also ensures that cows are healthy and is able to walk through the barns with me every Monday and make sure that everyone looks healthy, and he tells me if he sees anything that doesn't look normal or right. And then we also have on the crop side, remember how I said we have 2,400 acres? We have people that are specialists in ensuring that we grow the right crops and then we don't have bad bugs or any kind of diseases in our crops, and they help us to keep those crops growing well. And yeah, so we have a lot of people on the farm. Actually, one other person is my twin sister. My twin sister works with our farm. She works for a company that works in genetics. And so, like I said, we artificially inseminate cows. In order to have the best quality cow, we need to know what the genetics of that cow are, who their parents and grandparents are. And so we use my sister to ensure that we are making the best quality cows we can to make sure that we make the highest amount of milk and have the healthiest cows possible. And so my sister doesn't work on the farm, but she works with our farm. So it's truly a family business around here.
That is so cool, Emily. So I know you mentioned before we were going to get to see some of the crops in the field being harvested. Can we check that out while we head over to the parlor?
Yes, check out this video. It's really cool.
Awesome.
You guys are probably wondering what is going on here. So in this video, that big piece of green machinery is called a chopper. And so what they are doing is they are chopping the corn. There you go. You can see right in the cab. This chopper is driving through the field, and the corn silage, one of the ingredients that we saw, that chopper is chopping it up nice and small like we saw in that first bucket that I showed you. And he's putting it into those big dump. So those dump trucks collects the feed, and you can see he's aiming. He's got to be really careful because he's driving along and making sure that he fills the truck completely. And in those fields, he chops, and then the truck leaves the field and drives back to our feed bunk, which you'll see in the video as well. And at the feed bunk, they dump that feed and they put it in the bunk. There you can see that video that he has going shows him how full the truck is so that he can't see over the top. So he's got to make sure that he's filling the truck the right way. So you see how tall that corn is? That corn, when I stood in the field, it was about 12 or 14 feet tall. So it's as tall as the chopper in some places. This one. So you can, oh, here we go. So these cows eat about 100 pounds of food a day. And so there you have, we're at the bunk, the feed bunk. So that truck just dumped, and those big green tractors are going to push that corn into a big pile, and then we're going to pack it down. So look at all that corn. That's all corn that we're going to feed to our cows in the next year. And so actually today, we just covered that pile. So we used plastic, kind of like saran wrap, and then tires, and we covered that pile to ferment the feed. And so there you have how we get the corn from the field to the bunk, and then you saw it in the barn. So you have it all. So
that is so cool, Emily. So I think we're live in the parlor. Are we ready? Let's see it.
Yes, we are. Welcome to the parlor. This is where the milk happens. So you've been hearing about cows making milk. Now we're going to see it. So we'll go right here. We have a lot of technology here in the parlor. So this screen tells me everything I need to know. I know without even seeing the cow's yellow ear tag that this cow is 1776. And she's made 33.6 pounds. So that's about 3 gallons of milk. So our cows average about 12 gallons of milk every single day on the farm. So 12 gallons. Think of that gallon jug that you buy in the grocery store. This cow right here, just one cow, produces 12 gallons. And overall, our farm ships, been in those big milk trucks, about 16,000 gallons of milk to the milk plant every single day. So we're actually going to go right over here, and we'll see the process from start to finish of the cows being milked. So our cows, we have a specific routine that every cow is milked in this specific routine because cows like routine. So the first step you can see is they're what we call stripping the milk. And so they're taking a couple streams of milk to ensure that the milk is clean and it looks normal. Once we do that, we use this brush. And so the brush has antibacterial cleaning, kind of like hand sanitizer, and it sanitizes the teeth. It's spinning brushes, it stimulates the teeth. And so cows naturally know 3 times a day they're going to get milked, and this process being the same every single time ensures that they are ready to be milked.
Wow, so we've had a couple questions come in. So how long does it take each cow to be milked?
Yeah, so our cows from the start, when they come into the parlor to when they leave, is about 5 minutes long. So they might wait in what we call the holding area, but overall, the time that they're leaving those stalls we saw to going back to those stalls we saw is about 1 hour. So this process is really quick, and the cows don't have to spend that much time away from their food and from their nap. So here's our next step, is we attach the milking unit. And so the unit is attached with vacuum. So it's like the vacuum you have in your house, but much softer. And so we attach, and you can see immediately that clear spot right here, that's milk coming out of the cow's udder. And so the milk comes out of the udder and goes through this blue hose, and it goes into the milk tanks. It's then cooled down to about 35 degrees, and then it's put into the milk tanks and shipped to the plant.
Okay, so you said we milk the cows, the milk gets cooled, then it goes to the plant. But ultimately, what types of dairy products does this milk go to make?
Yeah, so a lot of our milk goes to be made into cheese. And actually, we have our own cheese brand with seven other family farms called Craig's Creamery. And so a lot of our milk goes to that cheese brand, but some of it goes to yogurt or fluid milk, so gallons of milk, or butter.
Fabulous. So to give some perspective, I know, Farmer Emily, that you work in pounds of milk, but most of our students would recognize a gallon of milk. So how many gallons of milk does each cow make a day?
Yeah, about 12 gallons. So we're on to this cow, 86.99. So far, she's made 9.65 pounds, which is about 3/4 of a gallon. So a gallon of milk is about, that's over 1 gallon. A gallon of milk is 8 pounds, 8.6 pounds. So she's about to have made 2 gallons already.
Oh my gosh, already?
Already, yes. And so actually, another cool thing, today we are milk testing. So we have milk testers here on the farm once per month. And what they do is they take a sample of the milk from every single cow to ensure that it's good quality and to understand. So the milk is made up of water, fat, protein. And so the milk tester can tell us how much fat and protein is in the milk. And so every cow has a different amount, and that's part of why we have them here every single month.
Wow, that is so cool. We've had a bunch of questions come in about the milking parlor. So
I bet.
Yes. So now that you've told us about how much milk each cow is making, can you tell us, do cows only make milk when they have a calf? Or how many days a year do they make milk?
Yes. So cows are mammals. People are mammals. So once a cow has a calf, naturally her body starts producing milk. So in order for a cow to produce milk, she has to have a calf. Once she has a calf, she then will produce milk. And our cows, we breed them at about 60 days after they've had their calf. And then 2 months before the cow is due to have her next calf, we give them a vacation, or we dry them off, and we let them relax and grow that calf and use the energy from the feed to grow the calf and not produce milk, so that when they come back the next time to make milk, they are healthy and ready to go again.
Awesome. So about that, we've had some of our watchers ask, how do you group your cows? Do they have friends, or do you group them by age? Is it kind of like school? How do you pick which cows go in which group?
Yeah, so our cows are grouped by age. So this pen right now is our grandmas. They're our older cows. So these cows are 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. So they've had anywhere from 3 calves to 7 or 8 calves. And as you can see, they make a lot of milk. So there are mature cows, we call them. And so these cows get fed a very high energy diet because they're working really hard and they're eating a lot and they're producing a lot of milk. But some of our other cows are grouped based on if they've had a baby or not. So that first pen we were in, those cows were grouped because they are about to have a baby in the next month. There were about 150 of those cows in there, and they're going to have a baby within the next 30 days. And then we have other pens that are, we have a pen of about 20 cows. That's cows that are sick in some way. And part of my job is to spend time with them and ensure that they get treatment. I'm kind of like a nurse to them to make sure that they get healthy soon.
That's very cool. We've had a couple other questions coming in. One of them was asking about how does the machines on the milkers know which cow is in which stall?
Good question. And so the cows have a button on their ear tag. Not sure if the cow camera shows that right now, but there is a white button on the ear tag, and that is called a radio frequency identification device, or an RFID, and it's individualized. Every cow has their own button. So they have their own ear tag, the yellow ear tag. They also have their own white ear tag. And there is a green box outside on each of these stalls that reads that button and tells us. So the cool thing too is not only do we know which cow is in which stall, we know how much milk they make. And so every single day when I come in the morning, one of the first things I do is look at a list. And this list tells me any cows that might have decreased in milk in the last couple of days or have no milk. And those are the cows that I'm going to spend extra time finding and making sure they're healthy. And so that list, I can check them and see if they might have pneumonia or if they might be sick or have a tummy ache. The information provided, there's a lot.
So the next question we've had come in is, do the cows come into the parlor on their own? Do they like it?
Yeah. So the cows are in what we call the holding area, and there is a gate that guides them. But especially these grandma cows, they come in on their own. You can kind of see they're all standing there waiting to go in. They want to be milked. So we'll actually go and we can see the holding area.
So while we're going there, Emily, what happens to cows when they're not making milk anymore?
Yep. So once a cow stops making milk, they are sold for beef. So we are a business, and in order to make money, milk is how we make money. And so if a cow doesn't produce milk, we can't have her on the farm because she's eating food that we can't afford to pay for.
That makes a lot of sense. And I would imagine too, Emily, that a lot of these cows, you guys are always doing what's right for them, right? So
yes.
What's healthiest for them. So if it's not healthy for them to make milk anymore, they go to maybe like a job change or a career change.
Exactly. It's like a career change. And my job is to make sure that these cows are healthy all the time. And so my goal is to keep them here as long as possible. You can see these cows are pretty content just standing here. They're about to go into the parlor, and that's where they want to be. They like being milked. They really like this routine they have. I mean, if we're 15 minutes late, which I can be 15 minutes late, but the parlor shouldn't, because my cows will tell me, and they'll be standing at the gate yelling. So we got to be on time for these girls.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool. I can't believe that cows can tell time like that.
Yes, they really like routine. They like to sleep, and they like to have the same routine. Honestly, some cows, when I'm out in the barn, I know what stall that cow is going to be in because she has that same stall that she likes to sleep in every single day. So I know if I need to find a certain cow, I know where to look for her.
So we had a question come in. We see a lot of black and white cows, but do you have any brown cows?
This pen is all black and white cows. They're black and white Holsteins. Holstein is the breed, black and white's the color. We have a few red and white Holsteins that are in other pens, but for the most part, our cows are all black and white. But as you can see, they're all different markings. So number 36 right here is very white, whereas the cow next to her is a little darker. Cows all have individual markings, and they have their own markings Just like humans, it's like a fingerprint. Cows have their own identification markings. No two cows look exactly the same.
Wow, that is so cool that cows basically have fingerprints they wear on their body.
Exactly. Yep, they do. So actually, we can look right here. You can see there's some paint on this cow's back. This is a V. So remember how I said we have a veterinarian that comes to the farm? Well, this cow was checked by our veterinarian on Monday, and we marked her so that it was easy to find her because there's about 200 cows in this pen, and we only need to find about 12 of them. And so we mark them with spray paint, and that's how we can find the cows in the barn.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So it's a way for you guys to find cows.
Yes, it is.
So Farmer Emily, maybe we'll just head back outside to answer our last few questions. I can't believe we're almost done. So I see all of you have been asking us questions. I am getting to as many as we can with Farmer Emily. So one of the next questions we've had come in is, do cows ever have twins?
5% of our cows have service here for a second. Here. Yeah. I think we are back.
Yes,
Any other
Emily,
questions?
you were telling us that about 5% of cows have twins. That is so cool. I didn't know that. Now, are the twins, is it like people? Twins are totally normal. Sometimes there's girl twins and boy twins.
Yeah, sometimes we'll have boy twins and girl twins. Sometimes girl twins. They generally don't look identical. Most of our twins are fraternal.
Oh, right, because we talked about how all their spots are different.
Exactly. Yep.
That is so cool. So we've had a couple other questions is to if your cows go outside or on pasture. I know we saw those really nice, comfortable, climate controlled barns, but do they ever go outside?
So our cows do not go outside, but basically the outside comes to them because they've got fresh air coming in all the time. And on a day like today, it's really nice and cool. You saw those cows laying down. They were very happy in here. But on a day like sometime in January when it's snowing and freezing cold, I think the cows would prefer to be inside where they're nice and warm because the edges of the barns actually are thermostat controlled, so they close, and then we can close the barn up and keep them nice and warm. And in the summer when there's flies and it's 95 degrees and really sunny, we have the fans and the sprinklers that we talked about to keep the cows nice and cool. So basically, they can be in an air-conditioned building without having to go outside. So I think our cows have it pretty good in the barns.
I think so too. And we've been in the barn and it's really comfortable. So Farmer Emily, I've got another question here, which is what is your favorite dairy product?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Already today I've had milk and yogurt, and I love ice cream also, and cheese. You can't forget cheese. So I guess I don't have a favorite dairy product because I probably eat about 4 of them a day.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Well, and we've had a lot of students, Emily, sharing with us that yesterday was National Farmers Day, and they wanted to say thank you so much for making these awesome dairy products.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you guys could join us today.
Yes, we are so glad too. So, Farmer Emily, we are so fortunate to have had you today.
Yes.
We loved the tour. I know that you guys had lots of questions.
Such good
questions. So, we got to as many of them as we can. But if you have more, you can always watch this tour again. It's already available on YouTube, right? We could check it out right after this. So if you missed something, you can rewatch this right away. Now, we have one more tour tomorrow with one of your friends, right?
Yes.
So tomorrow we have one more live virtual farm tour that you can join. There's still time to sign up. And that one is going to be of a different farm with a totally different experience. So don't forget to check out our website, americandairy.com, to sign up for that tour, get access to this awesome recording so you can go back and catch everything you might have missed. And then, of course, we have pre-made lesson plans that you can print off that help enhance this experience, learn some more cool facts. And of course, Emily, our last question that we've had a lot of was, when can the students come see your farm live?
I'd love to have them out. We actually have a Facebook and an Instagram page, Milligan Farm, and they can reach out to us on there. And if they're local, get in touch with us. If you're not local, we try to keep it updated with cool pictures and videos so that people can see what's going on the farm. So please check us out.
Thank you so much, Farmer Emily. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. Glad you could join us.